Welcome, listeners, to Zone 2 Talk. Last week, there were two major events that happened in Denmark. The first one was the video podcast from Zone 2 Talk that was released. If you have not seen it yet, well, it's a punishable offense. Just kidding. The second event the major event that happened in Denmark last week was called the DHL Run or the DHL Staffeten. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that's how it's spelled. So this happens every August. It's an event where Danish companies get together to celebrate health, fitness, and also the art of pretending that office workers are secretly elite athletes. We'll get into that a bit later. A quick fact on DHL. The first DHL run was back in 1981. That's quite a long time ago. And it was an idea by this person called Niels Jørgen Holt from Sparta, who got this inspiration when he traveled to USA. And then I assume that he converted that inspiration into this event. And when it started, it was 134 teams that was running in Fælleparken. That's the place where DHL happens even today. And now we are talking about from 134 teams, it has increased to 30,000 teams with around 150,000 people walking or running from 2,800 companies. So that's like an entire population of a small country that is deciding to run in circles while passing the baton. That's a big event. The run is quite simple because I've participated in it. It's a 5 kilometer per person, and then pass the baton to the next one and try not to drop the baton. Yeah, it sounds quite simple. The real miracle, in my opinion, is not running, but it is the logistics behind arranging this event. So 150,000 people over a week running or walking and conducting this event without any major incident or any accident is a kudos in itself. And to top on all that, you also have free beers at the end of the event, so and firecrackers. What not to like? From my point of view, every year I participate, not every year, but over the last 8 years, I have participated in this run, the 5 kilometer run, with the intention of running fast, which is a relative word. My target was always like 25 minutes, 5 kilometers. But over the last 8 years, I've failed myself. And the fastest I've run was around 28 minutes, 5 kilometers. This was in 2022. And every other year, it has been 30 minutes, 30 minutes, few seconds or something like that. Not something to be very proud of, but it is what it is. And then you have people running 5 kilometers in 15 minutes. 15 minutes on DHL. I mean, excuse me, what are you doing here? Are you running? Are you preparing for Olympics and just took a wrong turn and ended up in DHL? I don't know. That's just imaginary numbers for me while running a 5K. But anyways, there are people who do that. And there are teams wherein there are multiple people running 15, 16 minutes. That's just too good to be true. Anyways, the topic I want to reflect today would be fitness and healthy lifestyle. This topic is very close to my heart, and I've learned the meaning of it the hard way. My journey to fitness is something like an IKEA manual instruction, at least here, when you get the IKEA furniture, you get the manual instructions, and in the beginning, you're like, 10 steps, what can go wrong? But halfway through assembling that furniture, you realize that something fundamental was set up the wrong way, and you have to do the whole thing again. And usually for me, it is my purpose in this analogy. My purpose was always not correctly set up. So I had to redo this fitness journey over and over again to understand the meaning of it. Initially, I started my fitness journey to look good and to gain some muscles and to impress people. Well, the problem with this purpose is that you can do it for a certain amount of time, let's say 6 months or a year. And then in my experience, you would get a break wherein either you're sick, you take a vacation, you go somewhere, you are out of this routine. And since your purpose is to look fit, on some level, you have achieved it working over the last 6, 8, or 1 year. And then it's difficult to come back into this routine because the purpose is either met or the break has just destroyed the purpose. And within a few months of not working out or not being in this routine, you're just back to where you started. And then you have to do this all over again. And this happened to me for almost a decade, I would say, wherein I had the purpose of gaining muscle, looking fit, and then something happens and I'm out of it. Almost a decade. And then I moved to Denmark. And even when I moved to Denmark for the first couple of years, it was mainly focusing on pizzas and enjoying Danish food, or not many to choose from. But that was clearly visible on my body. And somehow I ended up in a conclusion that I will stop working out, but rather start focusing on my mental health. So I started meditation. And over this journey of meditation, a thought process changed in me, or something changed in me, wherein I started realizing that fitness cannot be just a temporary goal of looking good or achieving certain weight. It should be a part of the lifestyle wherein you do this every day, irrespective of, it's like brushing your teeth, or as Dane say, biking in the winter or biking during the rain. You have to do it irrespective of what the circumstances are. And I think this changed the way I looked at fitness or approached fitness. Since it was a part of lifestyle, I had to do this, not had to, but it was baked into my routine and there were no breaks involved. And I also started listening to several podcasts wherein, for example, Joe Rogan, David Sinclair, Ben Greenfield. I don't think Huberman was there at that point in time. His podcast was not that famous or active at that point in time, I guess. So these were some of the podcasts I would listen into to get understanding about health and fitness. And over the journey of listening to these episodes, what I realized is I never thought about nutrition as one of the pillars for fitness. I used to eat whatever I wanted. On some level, I still do. But taking vitamins or understanding what is lacking in my nutritional needs is something that I never thought of. And I realized the importance of it over this journey of podcasts. It also surprises me that, I'm not sure currently, but it also surprises me that this information was not a part of the education cycle that I was introduced to, or that I grew up to. So the concept of nutrition was not very popular back then. And I didn't have the understanding of it, which makes sense. And the podcast world opened that door to me. On the similar time scale, I also joined CrossFit. Back in the days, it was called CrossFit Copenhagen. the place where I joined, and now it's called Arca. This was a life-changing experience for me, mainly from a point of like on day one, I was super nervous. Like, what am I going to do here? People are just throwing weights left and right. How am I able to cope up with it? And the beginner class just changed the way I looked at things. The trainer taught us to do, or at least motivated us to do, handstand in the beginner class, which just instantly hooked me into this CrossFit thing. And after that, there was no looking back, and it has been more than 600 classes now of attending CrossFit. And I'm proud to say that handstand has been one of the initial drivers and something that I have now a control over. I won't say mastery, but have some sort of a control over handstand. Currently, I feel, even though I'm not extremely fit, but fitness has been a part of my lifestyle, and I'm proud of it. That is the end of this reflection point, and now I want to move to something interesting that struck me while I was thinking on what should I talk in this podcast on an interesting topic. It's actually a mathematical topic that I want to share, which is a part of our education system. So Indian education system, when I was growing up, had a huge influence of colonial times. So in the old British teaching style, multiplication was taught something like this: 2 times 2 are 4, 3 times 3 are 9. This was one of the way maybe it was initially taught in the British style. And when it got translated into Indian way of teaching mathematics, we were taught 1 ones are 1, 2 twos are 4, 3 threes are 9. And there was this kind of a rap music wherein people stopped thinking of what is going on and just like 1 ones are 1, 2 twos are 2, 3 threes are 9. And over some years, I thought the word one, and I thought the word was ZAAR, ZAAR. I didn't even understand what was that. I was just blabbering through it. And over some years, when I reflected on this, I realized that it's nothing but 2 times 2 are 4, 3 times 3 are 9, has been converted into this 1 ones are 1 or 2 twos are 2, which for me was just a shocking thing, that it was not, like, it was something that was not taught to us in that way, even though it didn't change the meaning of mathematics. But yeah, this was an eye-opener for me. And it was also an eye-opener that multiplication is nothing but a repeated version of addition. So 2 times 2, 4 is nothing but 2 plus 2, or 2 times 3 is 6, nothing but 2 plus 2 plus 2. Since addition is creating a lot of manual steps, multiplication is just like automizing it and trying to make it more simplified, I would say. So yeah, those were some of the interesting points that I reflected on a few years ago, I guess, when I was thinking on this topic. And anyways, if you have reached this far, congratulations. And as it's now been a trend, I always finish it by saying thanks in Danish, tak, and Jai Hind.